seldom-traveled town of Eddington, there stood an aging manor known by locals as the Ebbing House. An imposing silhouette against the backdrop of the town, it was a labyrinth of twisted corridors and forgotten rooms cloaked in shadows. Its worn stone facade, once a marvel, now whispered tales of neglect. Despite its eerie aura, it was the inheritance of one unsuspecting man, Andrew Winston. An urbanite by nature, Andrew was oblivious to the whispers that circulated about the house. The inheritance was unexpected. An estranged aunt, unknown till her death, had left him the manor. He saw it as a chance for a fresh start, far away from his relentless city life. A new place, a new beginning. The first few days in the Ebbing House were uneventful. Andrew busied himself with minor repairs and cleaning, focusing on making the old house a home. But as the days slipped into weeks, a palpable unease crept in. He first noticed it with the sound of dripping water, an echo in the cavernous house. Andrew followed the sound, maneuvering the maze-like corridors until he found himself in front of a previously unnoticed door. It was a small room filled with mold and damp. At the center, an ornate stone basin stood, water slowly dripping from the ceiling above. Although he found the source of the sound, it was not something he could fix. The water seemed to be seeping through the stone ceiling, a puzzling predicament. He shrugged it off, deciding to find a local handyman who would have a solution. That's when things took a strange turn. The dripping sound seemed to grow louder, almost intentional, persisting throughout the night. In the unsettling quiet of the house, it sounded like a warning, a rhythm calling out to him. Each night, the sound seemed to grow louder, nearer, persisting till he found himself standing in front of the room with the stone basin. One night, under the weight of the eerie dripping sound, Andrew felt compelled to confront it. With a candle in hand, he pushed open the damp door to the small room. The once slow drip had become a stream, the basin overflowing, water spilling onto the stone floor. In the flickering candlelight, he could see something shimmering at the bottom of the basin, a glint of metal hidden under the water. Intrigued and bewildered, he reached in, his hand closing around a cold, metallic object. As he pulled it out, the water draining away revealed an old, ornate key, its design intricate, unlike any he had seen. This was the first in a series of strange occurrences, each leading him deeper into the unknown, the house revealing its secrets one by one. His discovery of the key marked the beginning of his nightmarish journey into the depths of the Ebbing House. The house, which once stood silent, now seemed alive. The corridors echoed with whispers, the house reacting to his presence, his actions. As he held the key, a chilling gust of wind blew out his candle, engulfing him in darkness. The dripping ceased, replaced by an oppressive silence. It was as if the house was waiting, holding its breath. In the days that followed, Andrew's obsession with the key and the mysteries of the Ebbing House grew. Daylight hours were filled with inquiries and research. Andrew learned from the town's aging librarian, Mrs. Perkins, about the house's original owner, a reclusive alchemist named Alistair Ebbing, rumored to be a practitioner of the occult. Andrew felt a draw to the Ebbing House he couldn't explain. By night, he roamed the manor, the key a constant companion. A week since the discovery, he stumbled upon a door he hadn't noticed before. Tucked away behind a tapestry, it was old and heavy, and bore an uncanny resemblance to the key's intricate design. The anticipation sent a shiver down his spine. He inserted the key. It turned smoothly, and the door creaked open to reveal a dark staircase spiraling downwards into the unknown. Descending felt like an eternity. The air grew colder, dampness seeping into the stones around him. He arrived at a vast, subterranean chamber, the center of which housed a large stone table covered in a myriad of archaic symbols. Around it, old wooden shelves brimming with dusty books and unidentifiable artifacts, remnants of Alistair Ebbing's esoteric interests. On the table, a single book lay open. As Andrew approached, he could see it was handwritten, filled with cryptic symbols and illustrations, a diary or a grimoire perhaps. As he touched it, A sense of dread washed over him, as if by opening this door, he had invited something into his life. Days turned into weeks. Andrew spent his time immersed in the lore and mysteries that the chamber held. The diary was an insight into Ebbing's work, filled with references to alchemical processes and rituals involving harnessing the energy of the other side. One night, as Andrew was engrossed in the diary, he came across a ritual referred to as the Calling of Shadows. Ebbing had claimed it could summon entities from the other side. A diagram sketched in the book illustrated the stone table as the central point for the ritual. The idea was ludicrous, yet tantalizing. Andrew made a decision that night, fueled by a morbid curiosity he himself didn't fully understand. He decided to replicate the Calling of Shadows. It felt like the house approved of his decision, the whispers louder, the atmosphere heavier. The ritual required specific ingredients: a silver chalice filled with water from the stone basin, 7 candles made from beeswax, and a personal belonging of the summoner. With a sense of foreboding, Andrew collected everything, placing them according to the diagram in the grimoire. Under the flickering candlelight, Andrew began the incantation. The words felt ancient, each syllable vibrating in the air, the room resonating with an unseen energy. As he chanted, the room grew colder, the candle flames danced as if agitated. Suddenly, the chamber darkened, the candles flickered out one by one, plunging him into an absolute, oppressive darkness. A chill ran down Andrew's spine. He could sense he was no longer alone. Out of the darkness, a figure emerged. It was inky black, a silhouette that stood against the dark. Its presence was suffocating, filling the room with a sense of dread. Andrew froze, regret washing over him. It spoke, its voice echoing around the room. "Who calls upon the shadow?" Summoning up courage, Andrew answered, I am Andrew Winston. I call upon you." The entity seemed to scrutinize him. "Why have you summoned me, Andrew Winston?" "I wanted to know. I needed to know if this was real," Andrew stammered, regretting his curiosity. A low, horrifying laughter filled the room. "Real, indeed. You have opened a door, Andrew Winston. A door that can't be closed easily." The figure retreated into the shadows. "I am free now," its voice faded. "We'll meet again, Andrew Winston." Suddenly, the candles flickered back to life. The room returned to its previous state, as if nothing had happened. But Andrew knew he had unleashed something. In the weeks that followed, the Ebbing House was not the same. Shadows moved, whispers turned into wails, and Andrew felt watched, haunted. The peaceful town of Eddington was thrown into chaos, strange incidents reported, nightmares plaguing its residents. The climax of Andrew's folly culminated on a stormy night. As lightning illuminated the manor, Andrew was found by the townsfolk, trembling and wide-eyed, in the center of Eddington, rambling about the shadow. The once grand Ebbing House stood ominously in the distance, cloaked in darkness, a symbol of Andrew's undying horror. The town of Eddington never forgot the horrors unleashed from the Ebbing House. As for Andrew, he remained a shell of his former self, a haunted man whose curiosity had cost him dearly. As for the entity, it was free, ready to weave nightmares into the tapestry of the world, its chilling laughter echoing in the eerie silence of the Ebbing House. The manor stood as a terrifying reminder of the Calling of Shadows, its dark silhouette overshadowing the quaint town of Eddington, the horror never truly ending, forever looming on the precipice.